Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cass High School Baseball presented by Pepsi on the Play On Sports Network. We welcome you to the Cass High Athletic Complex, where today the Cass Colonels will be taking on the Woodland Wildcats, their cross-county rival. And we'll be back to talk a little bit about today's matchup right after we take this first timeout.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot at this.
We welcome you back to Cass High School and the Cass High Athletic Complex. And today's baseball matchup between the Cass Colonels and the visiting Woodland Wildcats. Woodland comes into this contest with a 2-1 mark on the year. They have wins over Pepperell by a score of 7-2 and Langston Hughes by a score of 11-2. Their only loss of the year came at the competition that was down in Peachtree City, the Home Plate Classic. They lost to the host team, Whitewater, by a score of 7-4. The Colonels come into this contest with a 3-0 mark on the year. They have victories over Armurchie by a score of 6-2. They beat Sonoraville 5-1 and Langston Hughes by a score of 6-2 down in Peachtree City. So that's the matchup for today. The Colonels in at 3-0 and the Woodland Wildcats in at 2-1. We'll take just a few minutes here and take a look at several items about tonight's game. First of all, looking at the region standings for the Colonels. They compete in Region 7 Quad A, and the Colonels in at 3-0. No sub-region games have been played yet at this point in the season. Cedartown in at 2-1. They have a win over Chattooga, a loss to Rockmart by a score of 9-0, and they defeated Armurchie last Monday by a score of 8-4. They will be at Rockmart on Friday night. Gilmer is yet to play a game. At least they've not reported. We used Georgia Prep Country to take a look at records and scores, and there was not a reported game from February the 22nd. But they do have a contest scheduled for Thursday as they take on North Murray at home in what was scheduled to be a rematch of a game on February the 22nd. So we're not sure if that game was played or not at this point in time, but they have no record showing on Georgia Prep Country. Pickens comes in with their season not yet started. They open at home on Thursday. They take on the Murray County Indians. River Ridge, they have a 4-3 loss on their record at this point in time to Woodstock, but that's a Class 6A club. They are at home today against Calhoun. In the other half of the region, the North Subregion, or what is officially known as Subregion B, Ridgeland's in at 1-0. They have a win over Dade County by a score of 8-4. They're playing the rematch at home today against Dade. Dalton is 1-1. They have a victory over Cahulla Creek by a score of 5-1. They did lose to Ringgold 8-5. They're at home on Thursday to Calhoun. Heritage will open against Class 6A McEachern today. Lafayette is 0-1 with a 3-2 loss to Cahulla Creek. They're at home on Friday against Gordon Lee. And Northwest Whitfield is 0-1 with a loss to the private school Christian Heritage up in Dalton by a score of 6-3. That game was on Monday. They take on Cahulla Creek at the Chattanooga Lookouts AT&T Park in their next contest on Friday night. Let's look at the region records around the area in Region 7 Quad A. We'll take another timeout, and we'll be back with more on tonight's game right after we take. Welcome back to Cass High School for Cass High School Baseball, sponsored by Pepsi. We want to take a quick look at the upcoming schedule for the Colonels as they take on the Wildcats tonight. That's this past Saturday's games that are there at the top of your screen, Sonoraville and Langston Hughes. The Colonels won both of those games. They take on Woodland here today. On Saturday, this weekend, they will play a pair of games in Woodland's Military Appreciation Day. They'll play Pepperell in a 2 o'clock contest and Woodland at 5:30. We plan to broadcast both of those games on Play On as well. And then they will travel to Woodstock on Monday, March the 4th. They play at Rockmart on Friday, March the 8th. And then have a home-and-home series with Adairsville on the 11th and the 13th. And then the sub-region schedule will begin when the Colonels will host Gilmer here at the Cass Athletic Complex. That's coming up on Tuesday, March the 19th. We want to remind you that you have an opportunity to place your ad into these broadcasts. You can place your ad here for as little as $25 a month throughout the year. This program will continue throughout the school year. We plan to carry football games, basketball games, and all sports throughout the next school year. We are learning this process through the baseball season, so we'll invite you to advertise your business with us for as little as $25 a month. You see there how you can do that. Just give me a call at the school, 770-606-5845, or you can give me an email at the address shown there, cwilson@bartow.k12.ga.us. We'll take a quick time out, and we'll be back with more on tonight's game in just a moment.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot at this.
Welcome back to Cass High School. We're getting ready for baseball action tonight as the Woodland Wildcats arrive at Cass High School to take on the Colonels. Cass coming into the contest with a 3-0 mark on the year, and Woodland comes into this contest with a 2-1 record. We want to look at how the two teams will line up defensively, and we'll try to give you the offensive lineups in just a few moments. But looking first at the Woodland Wildcats across the outfield, they'll line up with Gavin Livesey in left, Mason Robinson in center field, Luke Patterson over in right. Around the horn from third to first, they'll go Tyler Stringer, Camden McGill, Chris Kuzert, Lance Glockner, and catching will be Hunter Sinyard with Blake Hall on the mound for Coach Corey Goche's Woodland Wildcats. Let's look at how the Colonels will line up defensively. Again, across the outfield, Alex Yoslin will start in left field. Brandon Etheridge will take the duties in center field. Chris Morton will be out in right field. Around the horn from third to first, the Colonels will line up this way. Matt Brown at third base, Sam Ayers at short, Hunter Southern at second base. Chaz Wilson will play first base. Behind the plate will be Sam Russell, and on the mound for Coach Adam Williams will be Dylan Williams. So we'll take another quick timeout, and when we come back, we'll look at batting orders for each of these teams when we come back to Cass High School for tonight's baseball game featuring the Colonels and the Wildcats right after this. Okay, welcome back to the Cass High School Athletic Complex. And tonight's game featuring the visiting Woodland Wildcats coming in with a 2-1 mark against the homestanding Cass Colonels, who are 3-0 on the year. We want to take a look very quickly at the two batting orders for this evening, since we've already taken a look at how they will line up defensively. For Woodland, Robinson will lead it off and play center field. Senyard will be behind the plate. That is Hunter Senyard. He will be catching and batting second. Camden McGill will be at shortstop. Stringer will man third and bat fourth. Kuzert will play second base. Patterson will be out in right field. Hayden Senyard will be the designated hitter, hitting in the 7th spot. Glockner will play first base, and Livesey will be in left field. And Senyard, the DH, will be hitting for the pitcher, Blake Hall. For the Colonels, they will line up this way. Chris Morton will be in right field, and you see the players' batting averages listed out there. This is only through 3 games, but that's the batting averages through the first 3 games for the Colonels. Chris Morton will be in right field leading it off. Brandon Etheridge will be in center field for the Colonels, batting second. Sam Ayers holds down shortstop and will bat third. Chaz Wilson will play first base for the Colonels tonight and bat in the cleanup spot. Dylan Williams will be on the mound for the Colonels. He will bat fifth. Sam Russell will be behind the plate, batting sixth. Alex Yoslin gets a start in left field tonight, batting seventh. Matt Brown will be batting eighth and playing third base. And Hunter Southern will be starting at second base for the Colonels and Coach Adam Williams. So that's how the two teams will line up, both defensively and offensively. And we're going to take another break here in just a second. We'll be back with more information on tonight's games. I see the coaches are making their way to home plate, so that means the umpires will not be very far behind, and we will be ready for some baseball very shortly. We'll take this break and be back with more Cass High baseball, brought to you by Pepsi, in just a moment. Charles Wilson back at the Cass High School Athletic Complex along with our cameraman Alec Barena. He's up high on the tower tonight taking our pictures for this evening's game as the Woodland Wildcats are visiting Cass High School for each team's 4th game of the year. You see there Woodland comes in with a 2-1 record on the year. The Colonels are in at 3-0. Looks like the umpires have arrived and they are meeting with the two managers, or the two head coaches, Gochi for Woodland and Williams for the Colonels. So we are not very far away from our first pitch and getting tonight's game started. So we thank you very much for joining us for Cass High Baseball. And again, we want to remind you that these broadcasts are being brought to you by Pepsi. We want to thank Pepsi for being the anchor sponsor for Cass High School's productions on Play On Sports this year and on the GHSA.TV network. So we'll take another timeout, And I'm sure they're about to do some player introductions, and we'll be back with more on tonight's game in just a few moments. Okay, we welcome you back to Cass High School and tonight's contest between the Woodland Wildcats and the Cass Colonels. We're here at the Cass High School Athletic Complex on the campus of Cass High School in White, Georgia for the Colonels' fourth game of the regular season. It's also the Wildcats' fourth game of the regular season as these two county rivals get set to take the field for tonight's game. The pregame meeting taking just a little bit longer than we anticipated, so we still have not had the announcement of the starters and the national anthem and all of that to start tonight's game. They're not quite ready to go, so we're going to take another timeout, and we'll be back, hopefully, to play some baseball here in just a moment.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. We're coming in on 1. For more information on how your school can join the Play on School broadcast program, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot.
Okay, we're only moments away from some high school baseball here at Cass High School as the Colonels are getting ready to take on the Woodland Wildcats in each team's fourth game of the season. We've had our national anthem here on the broadcast side. We've had our introductions of both the offensive and defensive lineups for each of the teams. So we're ready to take one last break, and we'll be back with Cass baseball against the Woodland Wildcats in just a moment. Okay, back at Cass High School, the Colonels have taken the field against the Woodland Wildcats tonight. Dylan Williams on the mound for the Colonels. Takes his last warm-up toss, the long throw down to second base. And it looks like we are finally ready for some baseball. So we want to thank all of our help tonight. Lathy Williams here to help us run the board, and Alec Barena up on the camera as Robinson will step in now to face Dylan Williams as the Colonels take on the Woodland Wildcats. And the first pitch from Williams is lined into right field, and it is in play, a fair ball down in the corner, and it looks like he will reach second with a first pitch double hit into right field. So Robinson reaches second base. And that will bring up Senyard to the plate. And there's a fastball strike as Williams gets ahead. 0-1. Williams sets with Robinson taking his lead down at second. It's a curveball in there for strike number 2. We're just underway from Cass High School. The Woodland Wildcats visiting the Cass Colonels. There's ball number 1. So the count goes to 1-2. Williams comes set and fires, and that one is fouled off over toward the Woodland dugout. So the count remains at 1-2. The field almost in full shadow now. And Williams' pitch gets away and bounces all the way over near the Cass dugout. A lot of foul territory here at Cass, as Russell had to chase that one almost to the mouth of the Cass dugout. So the count goes to 2-2. And Robinson is able to move over to third base. So a little trouble brewing here for the Colonels in the opening half of the first inning. That one is fouled off to the left side by Senyard. Hunter Senyard at the plate for the Wildcats, wearing number 28, a junior. That pitch missed up and in for a ball. And there is strike number 3. So the count runs full, but Williams is able to get the strikeout, and we have 1 out now for Camden McGill. Mason Robinson down at third base for the Wildcats. Senyard looks at a curve for a strike, and Williams is ahead 0-1. We apologize there for our graphic. We were doing a little training pregame, and we had the wrong half of the inning up there, but it is the top of the first, and now Williams is up 1-2 on the count. So there's the 1-2 pitch, and it just missed for a ball. And that one missed and sent McGill to the ground, evening the count at 2-2. I apologize, it's now 3-2. And that pitch gets away from Russell at the plate, high and away. And McGill is going to try to take second, and he will make it safely, as the ball went all the way to the backstop. So now it's going to bring up Stringer. Who looks at ball number 1. McGill takes third and is looking to move home, and will stay there. Ball got away a little bit from Brown down there at third. So Woodland off and running here in the top of the first, and putting some pressure on the Colonels. Two and 0 our count now with a runner at third, and there is a breaking pitch for a strike. Tyler Stringer at the plate for the Wildcats with Camden McGill down at third base. Woodland has already taken a 1-0 lead. And only 1 out in the inning. Stringer late on that swing. And the count is now even at 2-2. That one's put in play, fielded by Williams easily. He tosses over to Chaz Wilson for the second out, and Camden McGill will have to stay at third base. So now 2 outs in the inning, and that will bring up the second baseman, Chris Kuzert. First 2 pitches to Kuzert are balls. Williams working from the windup with the runner at third. And the senior fires a strike at the knees. 2-1 our count with 2 outs in the inning. Woodland has taken an early 1-0 lead. Another fastball at the knees, but it's fouled off by Kuzert over to the left side. A breezy and chilly night at the Cass Athletic Complex as the Colonels host the visiting Woodland Wildcats. Williams' pitch is fouled off at the plate. So Kuzard hangs in there. And we'll see another 2-2 pitch. Williams from the windup misses low. So the count goes full to the senior second baseman for the Woodland Wildcats. There's the 3-2 pitch. It's hit high in the air. Over on the right side, Hunter Southern battling the wind, and Chris Morton will come in from right field and make the catch for the third out. So Woodland does strike for a run, but on that last out to Chris Morton, the Wildcats are retired, and we will move to the bottom of the first. We'll be back with more baseball right after this.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. We're coming in on 1. For more information on how your school can join the Play on School broadcast program, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
Welcome back to Cass High School. The Wildcats will now take the field for the first time tonight, as the Colonels will send Chris Morton, Brandon Etheridge, and Sam Ayers to the plate here in the bottom half of the first inning. Woodland taking a 1-0 lead in their half of the first. A couple of more warm-up tosses from Hall. Will throw down to second base, and in just a second we will have Chris Morton, the Colonels' sophomore right fielder, to step to the plate as the Colonels will bat in their half of the first inning. We're glad you could join us for Cass Baseball, sponsored by Pepsi. We're at the Cass High School Athletic Complex tonight as the visiting Woodland Wildcats from just on the other side of Bartow County, other side of Cartersville, travel in here to take on our Colonels. First pitch from Hall is very high for a ball. Morton steps back in and takes ball 2 low. Chris Morton with a single and a double on the year. He's 2 for 8 in the early going of the 2013 campaign. Takes a called strike at the belt. Left-hander fires, and there's a called strike at the knees. So the 2-2 pitch is a curveball, and it fooled Morton, who swung and missed. Ball was bobbled slightly at the plate by Sinyard, but he throws down to retire Morton. So that brings up the Colonels junior center fielder, Brandon Etheridge. Etheridge hitting .375 on the young season, with a single, a double, and a triple on the year, and has scored 5 runs. Takes that pitch for a strike. Count is at 0-2 as Hall winds and misses just high. So the count goes to 1-2 as Etheridge steps back in. Left-hander facing left-hander, and he popped it up over on the third base side. Stringer makes that play. And quickly 2 are out here in the Colonels' half of the first inning. Brings up the Cass shortstop, Sam Ayers. Ayers off to a good start. Hitting .571 through the first 3 games, but he swung through that one and missed it. Four hits in 7 official at-bats. He's had 10 plate appearances. There's a ball that missed low. The on-deck hitter, Chaz Wilson, will retrieve that ball back behind home plate for the umpire. So there's a slight delay in the action. And Blake Hall delivers that pitch for a ball. The left-hander from the windup, and it's fouled off by Sam Ayers. Ayers will step back in now with a 2-2 count. And there's a swing and a miss for strike number 3. So that will retire the side. The Colonels, no runs, no hits, no errors, none left. Hall needed only 14 pitches to retire the Colonels in their half of the first inning. So we will move to the second inning with our score, the Woodland Wildcats on top, 1-0.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot pitch.
Okay, we're back at Cass High School, where the Woodland Wildcats have taken a 1-0 lead through 1 inning of play. Dylan Williams back out on the mound for the Colonels, taking a few warm-up tosses to begin to hear the top of the second. We'll get that changed out for you. There's the throw down, and we are just about set for some baseball. Luke Patterson will step to the plate for the Wildcats to lead things off. And the first pitch is a strike. Patterson playing right field tonight for the Cats. Takes the ball low. Dylan Williams with a fastball there that's fouled off at the plate. So the count runs to 1-2. Woodland wearing their navy jerseys this evening. The Colonels in their home white uniforms. Patterson takes a swing at that curveball and strikes out for out number 1. So that will bring up the designated hitter, Hayden Sinyard, wearing number 25 this evening. And that first pitch sails high for a ball. On deck hitter retrieving that ball that goes back to the backstop, back to the padding. A lot of foul territory here at Colonel's Field. And Dylan Williams fires a low strike right at the knees. The 1-1 pitch is fouled off. We're in the top of the second inning. Woodland took a 1-0 lead in the top of the first. Cass went 3 up and 3 down. And there is a curveball for a called strike 3. So Sinyard is out on strikes. The Colonels toss it around the infield, and now the first baseman, Lance Glockner, will step in for the Wildcats. Left-handed hitter wearing number 10. And he will face the Colonels' number 10, Dylan Williams. First pitch misses inside for a ball. That fastball is swung on and missed. And the count is now even at 1-1. 2 outs in the inning, nobody on. Williams fires a strike right at the belt. And the 1-2 pitch is a swing and a miss. Foul tipped at the plate, but Sam Russell held on to that for strike number 3. So no runs, no hits, no errors, none left. Dylan Williams needed only 12 pitches that time to retire the Wildcats. We've played 1.5 now, and the Wildcats lead the Colonels as we move to the bottom of the second by a score of 1-0. All right, we're back at Cass High School. The Wildcats leading the Colonels by a score of 1-0. They scored that run in their top half of the first inning, and that will bring Chaz Wilson to the plate as the Colonels come up in their half of the second inning. And Wilson takes the first pitch for a ball. And Wilson just drilled that one into the left center field gap. He's rounding first and will try to make it into second and slides in safely with a double. So Chaz Wilson drives one into the left center field gap for a double to lead off things here in the second inning. Dylan Williams to the plate now for the Colonels, the Cass pitcher tonight. Hitting .500 on the early season. That in the game against Armurchie. Sees a curveball and he fouls it off just down the third baseline for strike number 1. So Chaz Wilson with the Colonels' first hit of the night stands down at second base. And Dylan Williams, his senior classmate, takes a curveball. Wilson's going to try to take third, and he will successfully steal third base. So I believe the pitch was a ball, and Chaz Wilson steals third. So the count's even at 1-1 on Dylan Williams. Still nobody out in the inning. So a bit of a gamble there by the Colonels to send Wilson, but he makes it safely, and now there are a lot of ways to score from third base. As Williams steps back in and takes that pitch for a ball. 2-1 the count as Williams steps back in to face Hall. He bounced that one up there for a ball. So the count is now, we believe, at 3-1. Williams in there, takes ball 4 low. And I guess not. I guess we were ahead on that count. So I think it is now 3-1. Or actually 3-2, they're saying. So we missed a pitch there somewhere. Trying to take care of a lot of activities over here, but there is ball number 4. So the Colonels now have runners at the corners. And that will bring up the cast catcher, Sam Russell. Actually, one of the assistant coaches had given me the starting lineup a slightly different order than that, but we'll make the correction now. They actually had given it to me as Yoslin hitting in front of Russell, but it's obviously the other way around. So we apologize for that mistake as well. And again, we want to thank Pepsi for being our sponsor for the 2013 Cass baseball broadcast. Hall looks in from the stretch and throws a strike high at the letters. And the Cass catcher steps back in. Throw over to first to check on Williams, but he's back easily. Who is it? Who's the courtesy runner? We actually have a courtesy runner down at first, so let's get that corrected as well. Courtesy runner is Caleb Black. So the 1-1 pitch is fouled off at the plate. So the count is now 1-2. Runners at the corners for the Colonels. We're in the top of the second with nobody out. Chaz Wilson led off the inning with a double, and Dylan Williams walked. Woodland leads it by a score of 1-0. They scored their run in the first. Cass batting in their half of the second. Throw over to first to keep Black close. The left-hander delivers to the plate this time for a called strike 3. So now 1 out in the inning. Still runners at first and third. And that will bring up the left fielder, Alex Yoslin. Yoslin had a couple of hits on Saturday down at Peachtree City in the home plate classic. So he's getting a start tonight out in left field. With a chance here to drive in a run. Quick throw over to first. And Black is back in again safely. Little snap throw from Hall that time. That left-handed advantage of looking at the base runner makes it difficult to get a good lead down at first sometimes. Hall comes set. Will throw over again. He's getting picked off this time. And now they throw it away. The throw to Stringer at first, but he made a bad throw down to Camden McGill at shortstop, and Chaz Wilson will score. Black will make it safely on the error. So the error by Glockner results in a Cass run, and the score is now 1-1 with a runner now at second. So Yoslin steps back in and swings and misses.
Hey, you guys look like you haven't been in the box before. Let's go now.
So we have one out in the inning with Caleb Black now down at second base. He's the courtesy runner for Dylan Williams. That pitch missed high, gets away from the catcher, Sinyard, and Black will make his way over to third. So that's a passed ball, allowing Black to move over to third. So now with the count 1-1, Cass with a runner at third and one out. Yoslin swings and misses.
Hey, now you're ready. Just do a job. Ground ball scores one. Come on, kid.
1-2 pitch coming up. And there's a swing and a miss. Ball gets away again from the catcher, but he throws down in time to retire Yoslin on the drop third strike. And Black has to hold down at third. So that will bring up Matt Brown, the third baseman, hitting in the 8th spot with Caleb Black still down at third base, and 2 outs now in the inning here in the bottom of the second. Next pitch is fouled off.
Hey, be smooth, Seven. Stay back, kid. Come on. Hey, he can't beat you with a fastball or a curveball. Come on.
Brown manning third base tonight for the Colonels defensively. Swings and misses at that changeup. So Blake Hall looks in with a 1-2 pitch, throws a curveball that missed, but just barely.
Hey, relax and see what he throws you now.
Hall winds and delivers his 2-2 pitch, missed low. Hemmed up by Sinyard again, and the count is full with 2 outs. Caleb Black down at third base. He's the courtesy runner for Dylan Williams, the pitcher for the Colonels, who reached on a walk. Chaz Wilson doubled to lead off the inning. He later scored on a throwing error down to second base, and Brown swings and misses for strike number 3. But the Colonels answer with a run of their own on 1 hit. There was an error in the inning. We've now completed 2 innings of play, and our score from Cass High School is the Colonels 1 and the Woodland Wildcats 1. Okay, the Colonels and the Wildcats tied at 1. Each team has a hit as Dylan Williams returns to the mound for the Colonels. Here in the top of the third, the first pitch to Livesey misses low for a ball. Second pitch is fouled back. So the count is now at 1-1 as we return to action here in the top of the third at Cass High School. And we need to remove that runner there off your graphic. And that is taken care of as Livesey swings and misses. So 1-2 the count as Dylan Williams, the Cass senior, rocks and fires. And that one is fouled straight back over the screen and back into the parking lot here close to the field. We're glad you could join us for Cass Baseball, brought to you by Pepsi. Cass taking on their cross-county rival Woodland Wildcats tonight. And we're tied at 1 as we move to the top of the third inning. Livesey fouled that one off. So the count will remain at 1-2. Woodland with a run in the top of the first, Cass with a run in the bottom of the second. Woodland helped the Colonels with an error, and that curveball really fooled Livesey. So that will flip the order over now for the Wildcats as Mason Robinson will step to the plate. He's the one that led the game off with a double into the right field corner on the very first pitch of the game. Robinson steps back in and fouls the first pitch back for strike number 1. Hunter Senyard, the Wildcat catcher, waits on deck. Oh, 1 curveball from Williams, missed high. And the count is now even at 1-1. There's another curveball, and this time it's right down the middle for a called strike 2. Robinson has the only hit for Woodland, and he eventually scored, but this time he strikes out on a Dylan Williams curveball. So now we have 2 quick outs here in the top of the third. And I'm sure you can hear the Cass student section behind us making a little noise tonight, trying to root on their Colonels. First pitch from Williams hits Senyard in the back, so he will make his way down to first. So Hunter Senyard hit by that pitch, and now we'll get a courtesy runner for the Wildcat catcher. And we'll try to get that number for you as he makes his way out. Looks like number 9. That is Allen. As Camden McGill steps back in for the Wildcats. 2 outs in the inning, a runner at first now for Woodland. Dylan Williams sets and fires, a strike, and the throw down to second on the steal attempt. And Coach Williams is going to come out and question if there was some interference by the hitter. The Cass catcher, as he threw to second, made contact with the hitter, and Coach Williams is going to ask if there was not interference there with his catcher trying to throw out the base stealer. Allen took second with the steal, and there was contact on the play, and we're going to ask or see if they can ask for some additional help there with the other umpire. Not sure he's going to be able to offer any help because he was probably moving into position to make the call down at second base.
Hey, come up with the right call.
So there's a slight delay in action here.
Runners
as there is a question about the play down at second base. And it's a long discussion. And still no signal from our umpire. So Coach Williams is contending that his catcher was interfered with by the left-handed hitter. And we'll wait here for the discussion to continue. But it looks like the runner's going to stay at second, and McGill will step back into the plate. I believe we have a 1-0 count.
If you didn't see that, you're terrible. Oh, you are terrible, man.
So Coach Williams will make his way back to the dugout.
You got strike one at least, right?
And the pitch was a strike. So we'll have one strike on the batter, and Williams' next pitch bounces up there for ball number 1. So the count is now 1-1. There's a Woodland runner down at second base. That is Allen, who's the courtesy runner for the catcher Senyard.
There you go.
And here's the next pitch from Williams, missed the inside to McGill. So the count goes to 2-1. Cass and Woodland tied 1-1. We're in the top of the third. Camden McGill at the plate for the Wildcats takes a look at ball number 3.
He's letting that get too deep.
Tyler Stringer is on deck for the Wildcats. And there's ball 4 that will walk McGill.
That's on you, 7. Terrible.
So a couple of base runners now for the Wildcats with 2 outs. And Tyler Stringer, the Woodland third baseman, will step to the plate.
Come on, kid. Blow it by.
Kuzert is on deck for the Wildcats. First pitch from Williams is a curveball that missed low.
Letting it get too deep.
And the next pitch is popped in the air. And the 2 infielders can't get together, and they missed the pop-up. Hunter Southern just lost it apparently in the lights, and I saw he and Sam Ayers kind of look at each other, and they missed the pop-up. So the error on Southern cost the Colonels a run.
Bad news bears.
And in fact, it cost the Colonels 2 runs. So that error is extremely costly, as Woodland has now taken a 3-1 lead on the missed pop-up. That brings up Kuzert with Stringer now down at first. Williams sets and fires and missed low with a fastball. We're in the top of the third, and Woodland has now taken a 3-1 lead on a costly error.
All that's on you, Blue.
Throw back over to first on the attempted pickoff, but Stringer's back in there easily. And now Kuzert squares, and Williams misses high. So the count goes to 2-0. And Williams delivers a strike at the knees. Luke Patterson stands on deck for the Wildcats. Williams from the set throws a fastball that's fouled off at the plate. just kind of dribbles down the third baseline, and the count goes to 2-2. Stringer was off on the pitch, headed toward second when it was fouled off by Kuzer. So with a runner now only at first base,
There you go.
Stringer takes off and will take second. The pitch bounced up there, but that will be a stolen base. Stringer was off and running on the pitch. So now a runner at second and 2 outs. And there's ball 4. So that brings up Luke Patterson for the Wildcats, with runners now at first and second and still 2 outs. The Colonels had 2 outs in the inning when all of this began. Williams misses high for a ball. Next pitch is low. Gets away just a little bit from Russell, but he recovers. The count now is at 2-0. And there's a pitch for a called strike, and the count is now 2-1. Williams looks in as Patterson steps in, and there's a called strike at the knees. So Williams is set and fires and strikes out Luke Patterson with a swing and a miss. But the Wildcats strike for 2 runs. They did not get a hit. There was a costly error in the inning, and we've now played 2.5 innings. We're in the middle of the third with Woodland leading Cass by a score of 3-1. We'll take just a moment here, and we want to talk about how you can join us as a sponsor on these telecasts. You can have your ad placed here for as little as $25 a month. All you got to do is give me a call at the school at the number shown there, or shoot me an email, and we'll be glad to tell you how you can participate with the Colonels this year on these telecasts of Cass baseball being brought to you by Pepsi. And again, we want to thank our sponsors, Pepsi, who are bringing you all of these telecasts of Cass baseball throughout the 2013 season. So Hall will make his way back out to the mound with a few warm-up tosses, and the Colonels will now come to the plate in their half of the third inning. We move to the bottom of the third. And the first hitter for the Colonels will be the number 9 hitter, Hunter Southern, the second baseman. So senior Blake Hall with his first pitch of the bottom of the third. Misses for a ball. And the second pitch is a called strike. Bottom of the third, Woodland leading Cass 3-1 here at Cass High School. That pitch misses up and in to Southern. And the count goes to 2-1. Top of the order, Chris Morton waits on deck. Next pitch is lifted into the air out towards center field. Robinson is under it, and he will make the catch for out number 1. So sophomore right fielder Chris Morton will step in with his second bat of the night. And Hall's first pitch is a ball. Next pitch to Morton is a ground ball hit back up the middle. McGill fields it nicely, moving to his left, and throws across for out number 2. So there are now 2 outs in the inning here in the bottom of the 3rd, and junior center fielder Brandon Etheridge will step to the plate with his second at-bat of the evening. Shortstop Sam Ayers is on deck. Cass Baseball brought to you by Pepsi, with Etheridge stepping in. And he takes a look at strike number 1. The left-handed hitter facing the left-handed pitcher, and he hits a ground ball up the middle, fielded by the second baseman Kuzert, but he'll have no chance to throw out a speedy Brandon Etheridge. So that will be a hit on the ground ball single. Kuzert made a nice diving play to stop the ball, but will only be able to smother it as Etheridge reaches safely at first. So that will bring up Sam Ayers, the shortstop, with a runner at first and 2 outs. First pitch is a strike at the belt. Looked like a breaking pitch, but our vantage point is similar to your camera angle, so sometimes difficult to get a good read on the pitch. Throw over to first to check on Etheridge, but he's back safely. And Hall comes set and delivers high for a ball, evening the count at 1-1. Throw again over to first. Etheridge back easily that time. And Hall sets for the 1-1 pitch. Missed high. Throw down to first again, this time by the catcher, Sinyard, but Etheridge dives back in safely. Hall comes set and throws home, misses high again. So the count now is at 3-1, 2 outs in the inning. We'll see what Coach Williams does with Etheridge down at first. On the 3-1 count, 2 outs in the inning. Hall fires low, just missed for ball number 4. So that will bring up Chaz Wilson. Wilson has one of the Colonel's 2 hits. He scored their run when he doubled in the second inning. So Wilson, the senior first baseman, takes a look at some signs from Coach Williams. 2 outs in the inning now with runners at first and second, as Blake Hall, the left-handed senior pitcher for Woodland, comes set. And Wilson fouled the first pitch off.
Hey, get underneath that curveball, drive.
For strike number 1. Wilson steps back in. And Hall bounced that one up there. Now they've got the runner hung up. And they cannot get him. That throw was low at third base. Otherwise, they had him picked off. So they throw behind Etheridge down at second. But they're unable to get him. So Ayers and Etheridge move up to second and third, and Wilson now with a chance possibly to drive in the tying runs. But he looks at a strike at the belt. So Hall now will go from the windup with runners at second and third. There are 2 outs in the inning. Wilson watches that pitch miss low. The count is now even at 2-2. So a big spot here, and Wilson fouls it off. Both teams a little shaky defensively this evening, and it's really led to all of the runs that have been scored. Woodland up 3-1. And there's a curveball that missed. So the count has gone full now with 2 outs and runners at second and third. Chaz Wilson steps back in to face Blake Hall, senior versus senior. And here's the left-hander's pitch. And there's ball 4. They say he held up. So that will bring up Dylan Williams now with the bases loaded. So ball 4 to Wilson, loads the bases. And the cast pitcher will have a chance to help himself. First pitch is fouled away out into the first base side parking lot. So Hall is ahead 0-1. And the catcher, Sinyard, wants to go out and talk to his senior left-hander. So the bases are loaded, 2 outs in the inning, an 0-1 pitch upcoming to Cass senior Dylan Williams. And he hits a ground ball that is fielded by McGill, throws over to first, and that will end the Colonel's threat. So the Colonels failed to score. They did have 1 hit in the inning. They leave the bases loaded. We've now completed 3 innings of play, and Woodland leads it by a score of 3-1. Charles Wilson back with Lathy Williams and our camera person Alec Barrena back at Cass High School as Woodland leads the Colonels after 3 innings by a score of 3-1. As Dylan Williams takes the mound once again, this time to face the designated hitter Hayden Sinyard. First pitch misses low for a ball. And that one is through there for a strike. So the count is now even at 1-1. And that pitch is put in play, grounded out to Southern at second base, and he fields cleanly and throws over to first for out number 1. And that will bring up the first baseman, Lance Glockner, with 1 out. We're in the top of the 4th, Woodland leading Cass by a score of 3-1. Dylan Williams with a pretty curveball for strike number 1. Livesey's on deck for the Wildcats with 1 out here in the inning. Next pitch hits Glockner in the leg. So a couple of hit batsmen now. And Glockner will make his way down to first. One out in the inning as the number 9 hitter, Livesey, the left fielder, steps to the plate and takes a curveball for a ball. Livesey squares and fouls that pitch back against the screen, trying to bunt Glockner over to second. So that foul ball evens the count at 1-1. Glockner will take his lead down at first as Cass pitcher Dylan Williams comes set. Again, Livesey squares and takes a curveball high for a ball. We're in the top of the 4th. Woodland with a 2-1 mark on the year leads Cass with a 3-0 mark on the year by a score of 3-1. Williams' fastball is fouled away at the plate by Livesey, who tried to bunt again.
Hey, throw him out.
So a 2-2 count on the number 9 hitter and left fielder for the Wildcats, Livesey, with Glockner about to take his lead down at first. Livesey takes just a moment, now steps back in, and Williams' pitch is swung on and missed for strike number 3. So 2 outs in the inning now. But the Wildcats are back to the top of their order. Mason Robinson at the plate. He's 1 for 2. Again, he is the leadoff hitter that doubled into the right field corner to start the game. And that curveball bounced up there. And Glockner will make his way down to second. So Glockner moves up to second base. And that one is a ground ball, just foul, past third. So the runner comes all the way around, but the umpire called it foul immediately. And he will make his way back out to second base. And Robinson will return to the plate. And the count has moved to 1-1. So Robinson steps back in, and Dylan Williams will work from the stretch. And throws it low for a ball that got by Russell all the way to the backstop. And that will allow the base runner to move over to third. So Glockner now at third. With 2 outs in the inning. There's a fastball low again. So the count is 3-1 as Williams fires a fastball about letter high that Robinson missed. So a payoff pitch coming from Dylan Williams is low for a ball. And now it looks like Coach Adam Williams wants to go out and have a chat with his senior pitcher. And it looks like the catcher, Sam Russell, will join that discussion. While we do that, we'll tell you that there are lots of ways to keep up with the Colonels during the 2013 season. You can follow them on social media, on Facebook at Cass High School Baseball, on Twitter at Cass Baseball, and not only the school website, but the Colonels also have their own baseball site at www.cassbaseball.net. Lots of ways to keep up with Colonel baseball throughout the 2013 season. So 2 outs are in the inning. We have runners at first and third now, as the first pitch misses low for a ball. And Williams again working from the stretch. Steps off the rubber, fakes over there, and does not throw, but he had stepped back off the rubber.
Where's it need to be?
That pitch must have missed outside for a ball. It was about waist high, but was apparently outside to Senyard, the catcher. And that one misses high.
Hey, stay back. Stay back before you
So after there were 2 outs in the inning, we've had a hit batsman and a walk, and now a 3-0 count with runners at the corners, and there is a strike. Still a 3-1 ball game. The Colonel's in need of an out here to keep it that way. Woodland's left-handed hitting catcher at the plate takes strike number 2. So a full count, payoff pitch now coming to Senyard. And Williams missed high for ball 4. And that will load the bases. And Coach Williams is coming out again. So we'll see what's happening and cooking here. It looks like Coach Williams will make a pitching change. And it looks like that will be number 20, Chris Hill, will come on in relief of Dylan Williams. So we'll take a short timeout, and we'll be back with more Cass Baseball presented by Pepsi right after this. Back at Cass High School, we're in the top of the fourth inning. 2 outs in the inning. And, in fact, there were 2 outs and nobody on. And now we have 2 outs and the bases loaded for Woodland as they threaten here in the top of the fourth, already leading it by a score of 3-1. Chris Hill, a sophomore right-hander, submarine right-hander, will come on in relief of starter Dylan Williams, as we've just seen a pitching change. And Camden McGill, the Woodland shortstop, steps to the plate. So a dangerous situation here for the Colonels, and the first pitch misses wide for a ball. So Hill comes set and throws again low for a ball. So Glockner's at third, Robinson at second. Senyard leads from first. Bases loaded, 2 outs in the inning. And the sophomore pitcher throws a strike about thigh high. Here's the 2-1 pitch. It's hit high in the air, out toward left center field, and it is caught by Alex Yoslin out there for out number 3. So Chris Hill comes in, does his job, gets a fly out to end the threat. And the Woodland threat here in the fourth inning comes to a close. So we've now completed 3.5 innings of play with Woodland leading Cass by a score of.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. We're coming in on 1. For more information on how your school can join the Play on School broadcast program, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
Okay, we are back at Cass High School with Woodland leading the Colonels by a score of 3-1 on only 1 hit. Woodland with 3 runs, 1 hit. They've committed an error. The Cass Colonels have 1 run on 2 hits. They also have committed an error, a costly one. It actually led to the last 2 runs that Woodland scored after Cass had tied it at 1-1. So it looks like Hall will take the mound again here in the bottom of the fourth for Woodland. As the Colonels will send their catcher, Sam Russell, to the plate to lead off the bottom of the fourth. So Sam Russell steps in to face Hall. Left-handed senior, rocks and fires and throws strike 1 as Russell swung on and missed. Cass catcher steps back in and takes a fastball right at the belt for strike number 2. Blake Hall at the 61 pitch mark on the evening. He's yielded 2 hits, 3 walks, and struck out 5. That pitch missed high for a ball. Next pitch is a curveball fouled off toward the Woodland dugout. So Russell will step back in and face a 1-2 count. Alex Yoslin, the left fielder for the Colonels, stands on deck. There's the 1-2 pitch, called strike 3. So that's strikeout number 6 on the night for the Woodland pitcher. And that will bring Alex Yoslin to the plate for his second at bat of the evening. First pitch from Hall misses low, a curveball. We thank you for joining us tonight for Cass Baseball, presented by Pepsi. Another ball misses low, and Yoslin is ahead in the count 2-0. Left-hander rocks and fires a strike down the middle. Yoslin steps back in to face the 2-1 pitch, and he takes it for another strike. Cass third baseman Matt Brown waiting on deck as Yoslin faces a 2-2 pitch and takes it for a ball. So the count has run full to Alex Yoslin. And Blake Hall will look in with a 3-2 pitch. And the ball's put in play, a ground ball out towards second. Chris Kuzert fields it, throws over to Glockner for the second out in the inning. So Kuzert to Glockner retires Yoslin, and that brings the Cass third baseman Matt Brown to the plate. Brown takes the first pitch for a called strike one. And the next pitch is a called strike at the knees. So very quickly, Hall has taken a lead in the count, 0-2. Now Brown steps out. And now the senior delivers a curveball right down the middle for called strike 3. So the Colonels go quickly in their half of the fourth inning. And we've completed 4 innings of play. And we'll move to the top of the fifth with Woodland leading Cass by a score of 3-1.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot at this.
Okay, we're back at Cass High School, and it looks like Brandon Etheridge will take over the pitching duties for the Colonels. We'll try to, if you'll bear with us, we'll try to make these substitutions here. Etheridge will now pitch. That will move probably Morton into center field. I know Dylan Williams has now taken over at first base. And Chaz Wilson has moved behind the plate. So let's try to get all of those changes logged into our system here. So we appreciate you bearing with us while we make these changes. Hope you enjoy the pictures being brought to you tonight by our camera person, Alec Barena. Well, we know that Stringer will be the batter for Woodland to face junior pitcher Brandon Etheridge.
Hey, let's go, man. Let's go, man.
And his first pitch is a ball high. So 3-1 Wildcats with Etheridge coming in to pitch for the Colonels. And Stringer takes a fastball strike. So I think we have all the defensive changes. We'll try to take a look at those again here in just a second. Chaz Wilson moves behind the plate to catch. Dylan Williams takes over duties at first base. We have Chris Morton now in center field. And I am not 100% sure who's moved out into right field. There's a strike at the letters. We'll try to get that right fielder for you as soon as we can.
Let's go, man. Out again. Let's go, man.
So a 2-2 pitch here in the top of the fifth to the leadoff hitter of the inning is hit in the air out toward our right fielder. And I'm not 100% sure who's out there. That may be Gore. And I believe that is Austin Gore. So that ball's put in play, and it's a fly out to the right fielder, Gore. And that brings up Kuzert with one out. First pitch from Etheridge is a curveball strike.
Hey, let's go, man.
Etheridge working quickly, throws another fastball this time for a swing and a miss. So Etheridge quickly ahead 0-2. And we'll see what he does here with one out. We're in the top of the fifth. Woodland leading the Colonels 3-1. We're at Cass High School on a chilly evening. And that pitch just missed low. Brandon Etheridge from the wind. Again, miss low. So the count is now even at 2-2. Nice little crowd on hand here tonight as the two county rivals face one another on the diamond once again. And there's Etheridge's fastball. And it blows right by Kuzert for strike number 3. So we have 2 outs in the inning now as the Colonels throw it around and return it to Etheridge. And he will face right fielder Luke Patterson of the Wildcats, who is 0 for 2 on the evening. First pitch from Etheridge to Patterson misses low for a ball. Next pitch is lifted in the air over the first base dugout, foul. And the count is now even at 1-1. We hope you're enjoying these telecasts coming to you tonight live from Cass High School as the Colonels take on Woodland. Presented tonight by Pepsi. Curveball from Etheridge, missed low and away. And the Colonel fans are not appreciative. Etheridge winds and delivers, and that one also missed low. So the count has run to 3-1 now. To the Wildcats' right fielder, Luke Patterson, a senior for the Cats. Looks at strike number 2. So we have a full count now. 2 outs in the inning as Etheridge looks in and bounced it up there for ball 4. So Patterson will make his way down to first. Wilson will retrieve that pitch as it did get bounce up there and get all the way back to the screen, but not far enough away to allow Patterson to do anything else. He makes his way down to first, and the designated hitter, Hayden Sinyard, will step to the plate now with Patterson standing at first base. And Etheridge will work from the stretch for the first time this evening. And his first pitch is a curveball strike. Dylan Williams holding the runner down at first as Etheridge throws another curveball for yet another strike. And the junior right-hander is quickly ahead 0-2 in the count. That pitch sailed over the head of Sinyard. Glockner on deck for the Wildcats. Etheridge delivers, and that's a strike right at the letters, a fastball called for strike number 3. So Woodland does have a runner to reach first base, but can do nothing with him. They score no runs, no hits, no errors. There was 1 man left. We've now played 4.5 innings from Cass High School with Woodland leading Cass 3-1. Okay, Woodland leading Cass by a score of 3-1. We're back at Cass High School. Woodland with 3 runs on only 1 hit. Each team has made an error. Cass has 1 run on a pair of hits. As we move to the Cass half of the 5th inning, Hunter Southern will lead it off for the Colonels.
Hey, need a base runner. Come on, babe.
Southern hitting in the 9 spot. First pitch misses high for a ball. Blake Hall still in there for Woodland. That was his 74th pitch of the evening. He's yielded 2 hits, 3 walks, and has struck out 7. Next pitch misses low for a ball, and the count has now gone 2-0. That pitch gets the inside corner for a called strike. Hall's 2-1 delivery missed low. to the Cass second baseman, Hunter Southern. So he steps back in with a 3-1 count. And Hall throws a fastball that Southern lifts into right field. A little soft line drive just over the second baseman's head for a base hit. So the Colonels have a base runner as Chris Morton will step to the plate, the leadoff hitter for the Colonels. And now it looks like the coach of the Wildcats, Goche, will step out to the mound to meet with his pitcher and the Wildcat infield. While he does that, we again want to thank Pepsi, our event sponsor, and for bringing us these broadcasts throughout the 2013 season, as Pepsi brings us Cass High baseball. Okay, that meeting at the mound is completed, and now the Cass leadoff hitter and now playing center field, Chris Morton, steps in. With the Colonels trailing 3-1, but they have a runner down at first and nobody out here in the top of the fifth as raindrops start to hit us again. First pitch is high for a ball, and they throw down behind Southern, but he's back standing up. And again, they'll throw over to first. As Morton steps back in, they'll throw back over again. Brandon Etheridge stands on deck. As Morton, the leadoff hitter for the Colonels, is hit and will take first base as a hit batsman. So the Colonels have a little something brewing here in the bottom of the fifth as the number 9 hitter Southern reaches with a single to right field, and now Morton is hit by a pitch. Cass has runners at first and second and nobody out here in their half of the fifth inning, trailing 3-1. Now Coach Williams wants to talk with the second base or the field umpire again. So I'm not sure what the concern is. They want something over at the Cass dugout moved back into the dugout. So now Brandon Etheridge, who is in as the Colonel pitcher, will step to the plate to face Blake Hall, who is now at the 80 pitch mark on the evening. First pitch is a curveball that is called a strike. And the Colonel fans obviously thought it was high. So a 1-0 pitch from the Wildcat left-hander will not be coming up. Etheridge steps out. Runners at first and second. They take their lead. Etheridge steps back in, squares to bunt, and they say he offered. That pitch was very low and outside, but they're going to say that Etheridge offered for strike number 2. And Etheridge swings and misses, and that will be the first out of the inning. So we're at 1 out now, and that brings up shortstop Sam Ayers with 1 out. So Ayers looking for his first hit of the night. Steps in to face Blake Hall. And he swings late at a breaking pitch for strike number 1. Chaz Wilson stands on deck for the Colonels. He's now the catcher for Cass. Hall comes set. And Ayers swings and misses. So the count runs to 0-2 as Cass shortstop Sam Ayers battles against Woodland senior left-hander Blake Hall. The 0-2 pitch is popped high in the air. That could be an infield fly rule. And it's caught on a deflection. They throw across to first as the base runners had left. I never saw infield fly rule signaled.
Hey, how about an infield fly?
Never saw it signaled, but I believe that should have been an infield fly. But that is caught on the deflection from Stringer to McGill, and now it will be 2 outs with Chaz Wilson stepping to the plate. Cass has only 3 hits on the night. Wilson had the first of those back in the 2nd inning. That pitch bounces up there.
There they are, Wilson.
And the runners will move up on the wild pitch. So Southern advances to 3rd on the curveball that bounced up there. And Morton, who's behind him, moves up to 2nd. So now they will intentionally walk Chaz Wilson. So that will bring Dylan Williams to the plate after the intentional walk. So Dylan Williams, who started the game as pitcher and is now in at first base, will step to the plate with the bases loaded and 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. So Blake Hall looks in, but before he can deliver, Dylan Williams will step out. So 2 outs in the inning and the bases loaded. Big situation here for both clubs. And they bounced it up there, but not far enough away, and Southern did not try to advance. And Coach Williams is not happy about it with his young base runner. So that will be ball 1, and Williams steps back in. And that is a high strike at the letters. So the Colonels may have missed on an opportunity to plate a run there and have the other 2 runners move up, as Southern held at 3rd as that ball got away from the Woodland catcher. Next pitch is high for a ball, and the count goes to 2-1. We're at Cass High School. Cass taking on Woodland. We're in the top of the 5th. And there's another ball, ball 3. So now Hall, who has thrown 94 pitches on the night, finds himself in a bit of a tough situation here against Dylan Williams of the Colonels. Bases loaded, 3-1 pitch. Misses low for ball 4. And that will force in a run. So Southern comes across after all on the walk. And that will bring up Austin Gore, who is looking for his first hit of the year. Gore made an outstanding catch in the 7th inning against Langston Hughes. And he comes up in a big situation here. And the first pitch to Gore is a called strike. Next pitch bounces up there, and the count is even at 1-1. So the score is now 3-2 on the bases loaded walk to Dylan Williams. That drives in the Colonel's second run of the night. And Gore fouls back that pitch. So the count goes to 1-2. As the catcher, Sinyard, will go out and have a word with his senior pitcher. So a 1-2 count with 2 outs and the bases still full of Colonels coming up. As Hall looks in and will work from the windup. And he strikes him out, but the ball gets away. And it is going to result in Gore reaching first base. The pass ball gets away from the catcher Sinyard on strike 3, and a run scores to tie this thing up.
Hey, do the job, man. Do the job. Come on, man.
So we have the drop third strike on the swing by Gore. He's going to make first on the pass ball, and the game is now tied at 3 apiece with 2 outs. And Alex Yoslin comes to the plate, the junior tonight playing left field. And he looks at a curveball high. So both teams have really helped the other score these runs tonight. And the score is now 3-3. Next pitch is lined but foul down the first base line. So Blake Hall now is at 101 pitches on the evening. And he's trying to get through this 5th inning, the bottom of the 5th, for Coach Goche. But the Colonels are still alive with 2 outs and the bases loaded. Curveball, swing and a miss. And the count goes to 1-2. So even though Hall picks up his 9th strikeout of the night, that runner reaches and a tying run scores on the play. And we're at 3-3 here in the bottom of the 5th. Yoslin takes a breaking pitch outside for a ball, and the count goes to 2-2. Hall working from the windup. Yoslin steps back in. And here comes the pitch, and it misses high for a ball. So this will send all of the runners. The runners will be moving. Everybody should be moving with a full count and 2 outs. And Yoslin at the plate for the Colonels. Here we go in just a moment. Yoslin steps out after Hall stepped back off the rubber. And here's the payoff pitch. And it's a called strike 3. So Hall pitches his way through that. But the Colonels do score 2 runs on 1 hit. They leave the bases loaded. And we've now played 5 full innings from Cass High School on Cass Baseball, brought to you by Pepsi. Our score now is Cass 3, Woodland 3. Charles Wilson back at Cass High School along with Lathy Williams on our board tonight, and Alec Barrena doing the camera work up top, as Cass has now tied it 3-3 as we move to the top of the 6th inning. Lance Glockner will lead it off for Woodland as Brandon Etheridge returns to the mound for the Colonels. Glockner playing first base for the Wildcats. Looks at the first pitch across the knees. Chaz Wilson framing it there for called strike 1. Next pitch by Etheridge misses low. Woodland with a run in the first, 2 in the third. Cass with a run in the second and 2 in the 5th.
Okay, now throw that dirty.
Etheridge looks in to his catcher Wilson for the sign, rocks and fires a curveball that's grounded out towards short. Ayers fields and throws across, and it's fielded there by Williams on the stretch. Glockner actually slid over there at first base, but it's out number 1. So a nice play there on both ends by Ayers at short and by Williams with the stretch at first, and they retire Glockner for out number 1. That brings up the left fielder, Gavin Livesey, hitting in the 9 spot for the Cats. Fastball strike at the knees.
Hey, now working. There it is.
There's strike number 2. Colonels with 3 wins on the young season, no losses. Woodland in here at 2-1, and we're tied at 3-3, just like you would expect. And Brandon Etheridge fires that fastball right by Livesey for strike number 3. So 2 quick outs, but Woodland now at the top of their order with center fielder Mason Robinson. Robinson 1 for 2. That hit a double in the first inning. Takes a curveball for a strike. We're in the top of the 6th. Cass and Woodland tied at 3 at the Colonels Athletic Complex. Another beauty of a curveball called for a strike.
Steady diet right there.
So we'll see what Etheridge comes up with here on an 0-2 pitch to the Woodland leadoff hitter Robinson. He threw it behind him. I'm sure that's not what he had in mind. But an attempted curveball that had no bite to it. And the count goes to 1-2.
There it is.
And he bounced that fastball up there. And the count is even now at 2-2. So we've seen the Colonels do this before. Get 2 quick outs and then struggle to get the third out. So we'll see what they come up with here, facing the top of the Woodland order. Cass will play 2 games on Saturday. They'll face Pepperell and Woodland in the Military Appreciation Day at Woodland High School. A little pop-up out to the shortstop retires Mason with the third out of the 6th inning. So a little pop to Ayers ends the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left. We've now played 5 1/2 with the Colonels and the Wildcats tied at 3.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. We're coming in on 1.
For more information on how your school can join the Play on School broadcast program, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
Back at Cass High School, where Woodland and Cass are knotted up at 3 as we move to the bottom of the 6th inning. And Woodland is going to make a pitching change. Looks like it will be number 13. That is Hood. So John Hood will come in. Relief of Hall, who threw over 100 pitches in this one. He takes his final few warm-up tosses. There's also 14 for 10 in the order. That's the first baseman. So they sub out Harris at first base. That's Braden Harris. He moves in to play first base. No, actually 22 is over there at first base. That's Stringer. So Harris is going to man third. So we'll make that switch if you'll bear with us. We'll swap some positions here. So Stringer moves over to third. Harris is the third baseman. And Hood, wearing number 13, will come in to pitch for the Wildcats. So exactly what you would expect in a rivalry contest. It is tight. And it's 3-3 as we move to the bottom of the 6th. Matt Brown will lead it off for the Colonels. And Hood throws it right by Brown for a swinging strike. So the Colonels at the bottom of their order. Brown, the 8-hitter. Southern waits on deck. And then they'll go back to the top of the order with Chris Morton. Brown swings and misses again. And he's behind 0-2. Hood's 0-2 delivery missed inside. So we await a 1-2 pitch from John Hood, a curveball that allowed Brown to catch up with it a little bit, and he fouled it off. So Woodland had a 3-1 lead. The Colonels have battled back to tie it up. We're at 3-3. And Brown fouls that one off at the plate. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Hood. And it missed for a ball. So the count goes even at 2-2 as that one apparently missed inside. Hood winds and delivers. And the ball is hit to the right side, but is foul. And Brown will make his way back to the plate. So Matt Brown fouls that one up the right side. Foul out toward right field. And here's another 2-2 pitch that he swings on and misses.
Hey, good at bat, dude. Hey, good at bat.
So one out will bring up the second baseman and 9-hitter Hunter Southern.
Hey, attaboy.
Southern had a hit his last time up. Lined one into right field for a single. But he takes the first pitch this time for a strike at the knees. John Hood winds and delivers, and Southern missed again for strike number 2. So one out in the inning. 0-2 pitch upcoming to the Cass second baseman. And there's out number 2. So the Cats throw it around, and that brings up the top of the order, but now with 2 outs as Cass center fielder Chris Morton makes his way to the plate. Morton looking for his first hit of the night, 0 for 2. Pitcher Brandon Etheridge steps on deck. And the first pitch misses for a ball. We're in the bottom of the 6th. Cass baseball brought to you by Pepsi. Woodland and Cass knotted at 3. 1-0 pitch is fouled off, and the count runs even at 1-1. So John Hood looks back in, winds and delivers, and Chris Morton fouled it off again.
Change.
Morton back in there, facing Hood, and another foul ball. So the count remains 1-2. As they retrieve some baseballs and get those back in to the umpire and back out to the pitcher Hood. Morton steps back in. And the 1-2 pitch is low for a ball. Two-two delivery from John Hood is high, but Morton swung and missed. And the Colonels go quickly in the bottom of the 6th. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left. After 6 complete innings of play, our score is tied at 3.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot at this.
right, we'll move to the top of the 7th. Woodland and Cass from Cass High School tied at 3 apiece. The Colonels with 3 hits on the night. Woodland with only 1 hit. Each team has committed an error. And our score is knotted at 3 as we go to the top of the 7th. Brandon Etheridge is in the pitch in relief of Dylan Williams and Chris Hill, I beg your pardon. And John Hood is in pitching now for Woodland in relief. Now submit. So we move to the top of the 7th. And the first hitter for Woodland will be their catcher, Hunter Sinyard. That pitch is fouled off, and very quickly, Etheridge is ahead of Sinyard, 0-2. Etheridge working from the windup with no base runners, and Sinyard fouls that fastball over to the softball field that's next door. More baseballs coming in. Chaz Wilson retrieves one tossed in from the dugout. And now he will give Etheridge a sign for this 0-2 pitch. And it was a curveball fouled at the plate right at the feet of Wilson. He didn't see it right away. And now he will come out and speak with his junior pitcher. Cass Baseball brought to you by Pepsi. We're in the top of the 7th from the Cass Athletic Complex on Play on Sports, with Cass and Woodland tied 3 apiece. And that pitch bounced up there for ball number 1. A very chilly night, down in the 40s temperature-wise. We've seen a few little raindrops, but it's held off. And there's another foul ball at the plate. And they're going to say that was fouled away. I thought it was. I thought I heard it, but very difficult from our vantage point. So the count goes to, or remains at 1-2, and Etheridge fires a fastball that is hit out into left field for a single. Yoslin retrieves that and gets it back in. So Woodland gets their inning started well with a base runner. Sinyard singles into left field with their second hit of the night. And Camden McGill, the shortstop for the Wildcats, steps to the plate. First pitch is a curveball called strike. Defensively for the Colonels, Brown at third, Ayers at short, Sinyard at second, Dylan Williams at first, Wilson behind the plate, and Etheridge pitching. Yoslin, Morton, and Gore across the outfield. Etheridge chases Sinyard back to first. Etheridge working from the stretch, throws a curveball, strike at the knees. So an 0-2 delivery coming up from Cass pitcher Brandon Etheridge. And it's a fastball that dribbles away briefly from Chaz Wilson, but he recovers and the runner holds. So Etheridge will try the 2-strike pitch again. 1-2, and it's a curveball hit foul past third down into the left field corner. So the count will remain 1-2. As we mentioned earlier, Cass will play a pair of games Saturday at the Woodland Military Appreciation Day. They'll play Pepperell at 2 o'clock and Woodland at 5:30. So these two teams will meet again this weekend. Fastball is a ground ball hit past Williams at first. Sinyard on his way to third, makes a big turn, but he will hold at second. So back-to-back singles by the Wildcats off Etheridge. And the Wildcats have a little something going here in the top of the 7th with nobody out. And that will bring up Tyler Stringer, who is now over at first base defensively for the Cats. And we can probably expect a bunt here.
Get a pop-up. Get a pop-up. No, he cannot hit.
So Etheridge steps back off the rubber as the Colonels try to decide what they will do here defensively. So runners at first and second, nobody out in the inning as Stringer steps to the plate, squares, and misses on the bunt attempt.
Hey, he'll butt one in the air if you let him. Hey, get one in the air.
So trouble here for Etheridge with nobody out. A couple of base runners, and Stringer at the plate trying to bunt the runners over, and he bunts that one out in front. Etheridge fields, throws wildly to first, and it's going to go into right field. 2 runs will score, and Stringer will end up at second on the throwing error by the Cass pitcher. So it was a bunt attempt. We will give him credit for the sacrifice bunt. But the error on Etheridge is going to result in 2 Woodland runs. And Stringer down at second. And still nobody out. Chris Kuzert steps to the plate for the Cats. And he bunts one foul. So Woodland has regained the lead 5-3. Still no one out in the inning. We're in the top of the 7th. And Kuzert, they say, did not offer.
I can run it back for you real quick over here. I got a lot of stuff to run back for you.
So Etheridge working from the stretch with Stringer down at second. Steps back off the rubber. And now looks back in for his sign from his catcher Wilson and throws a curveball high. And the count goes to 2-1. Two-one delivery. Misses for a ball. Patterson waits on deck. And there's still no one out in the inning. And they're going to say that's ball 4 outside.
Seven, you are so bad, it's just bad.
So Luke Patterson, playing right field for the Wildcats, comes to the plate. 0 for 2 on the evening, but runners at first and second for Woodland. Nobody out in the inning. Cass had tied it at 3, but now Woodland has regained a 2-run lead here in the final inning. That pitch misses low for a ball.
He doesn't know. Don't ask him. Yahoo. Watch it, Blue. He tried to hit it. He doesn't know.
Next pitch from Etheridge is a called strike at the knees. Brandon Etheridge comes set and delivers a curveball that is fouled away on a bunt attempt at the plate. So Patterson looks down again for his signs from his coach, Corey Gochi, as Etheridge steps back onto the rubber and sails a curveball high. So a 2-2 pitch upcoming to Luke Patterson, who squares again, and they say that's a ball. Full count now to Patterson. And that's wide for a ball, 4.
They know how to take the umpire out of the game. Just act like they're going to ball.
So designated hitter Hayden Sinyard will step to the plate with the bases loaded. And Woodland looking now to blow this thing wide open. Etheridge winds and delivers, and that one is called a strike. Curveball swung on and missed. So again, the job here is to minimize the damage. And it looks like Cass head coach Adam Williams is moving out of the dugout, but now we're going to get a runner. Courtesy runner is Allen again, down at third. He is inserted. And we'll have an 0-2 pitch here in just a second to Sinyard. Sinyard is 0 for 3 in this contest. And the pitch is called low for a ball.
Even the players see it out there, dude. Come on, Blue. You better than that. You better than that. No, he's not. He's really not. Boom.
And there's a swing and a miss for strike 3. So there's one out in the inning. And that will bring up Braden Harris, who's been inserted in the game here late at third base. The first pitch is low for a ball, blocked up by Wilson. There's a fastball called strike. Etheridge, Ayers, and Wilson due up for the Colonels in their half of the seventh. But first, they need to get out of this jam. Etheridge curveball is called a strike. So the count's now at 1-2. Etheridge continues to work from the stretch with the bases loaded. And a big pitch coming up here.
There it is.
Hit him. Or did it? No, it bounced up there. I thought it had made contact with him, but it somehow missed the batter. Now, this is an interesting conversation. Now, they're going to ask the base umpire if the batter was hit by the pitch. So that is an interesting conversation. And I'm not sure why that would even occur. So apparently nothing will change here. But I must admit, from my vantage point, it was difficult to tell myself. So a 2-2 count now coming up to Braden Harris. And it's a fastball that bounced up there. Chaz Wilson kept it in front. And we're going to see a 3-2 payoff pitch with one out to Braden Harris. And that was called ball 4. And Wilson turns to ask his umpire where that missed. But Woodland adds another run and moves to a 6-3 lead, and that will bring up Livesey. So now we have a timeout as so now Williams comes out to talk to the umpire and is questioning something while Woodland talks it over with their hitter. So one out in the inning. And the number 9 hitter, Gavin Livesey, will come to the plate with the bases loaded. The score is now 6-3. First pitch is high for a ball. And the Colonel fans are very upset with the ball strike calls. Another pitch for a ball. Woodland's figured it out. They've just started taking a lot of pitches. So give them credit for that. There's one that apparently got enough of the plate this time and is a called strike.
You have no business back there, Seven.
Another fastball from Etheridge and a swing and a miss by Livesey. Curveball, and it gets away from Wilson, and he cannot find it. The runner from second is going to try to score as well, but now he holds up. So that curveball bounced up there. Wilson could not hem it up, and it goes to the backstop. Then Wilson could not find it, and that allows another run to score. And that one gets away again. And this time they got him at, oh my goodness. They're going to call him safe. And now Coach Williams will come out to ask about that one again as well. And the Colonel fans are standing at the screen. They are really upset now after that play. So that was ball 4. The ball dribbled away from Wilson. He flipped it to Etheridge, but they say Patterson was safe. So Harris now has moved over to third, and Livesey moved all the way up to second on that same play.
Hey, don't come help him now,
And
man.
Woodland has blown this thing wide open, 8-3.
Don't come help him now, partner.
And it's a lengthy conversation now between Cass head coach Adam Williams and the home plate umpire. And this one has just gotten away from the Colonels.
Come on, Jordy. Hey, Jordy, you couldn't see it at second base.
So there's still one out in the inning. Woodland now with runners at second and third. And they're back to the top of their order with Mason Robinson.
Hey, 2 blind mice. You need to go back out at second base. You couldn't see it. Hey, we'll show it to you after the game, Seven. We'll show you the game. You need to stay out there.
So that conversation now has concluded. And we'll return to action here. A bang-bang play at the plate. And Woodland has now taken an 8-3 lead. Etheridge with the pitch, a called strike at the knees. That one bounces up there. Wilson blocked that one.
Hey, relax. Don't make them back up here, man. Relax.
So these two teams will try it again on Saturday over at Woodland. But Woodland has blown this one wide open. There's a called strike on the inside half of the plate. And the next pitch is fouled off. So the count remains at 1-2 to the leadoff hitter, Mason Robinson. Next pitch is popped up behind home plate. Wilson chases it back there, but cannot make the play on a diving attempt. So that one was popped up all the way back to the screen. Wilson laid out for it but could not make the catch. And the count will remain 1-2. Etheridge winds and delivers a curveball hit high in the air to center field. Morton's out there under it. It may be deep enough to score a run, though, and it will. So a sacrifice fly will lead to Woodland's 9th run. Livesey also moves up on the play over to third, and Woodland now leads it 9-3. Hunter Sinyard steps in for the Wildcats and takes a strike at the letters. Oh, 1 pitch to the Woodland catcher. Takes it apparently low.
Hey, it's not round. It has quarters. Call 'em.
So Woodland has scored 6 runs here in the top of the 7th to blow this one wide open. It was 3-3. There's a curveball that apparently missed outside. Next pitch from Etheridge is fouled away. So Woodland, I know, had won the last 4 matchups between these two clubs. Is apparently well on their way to winning their 5th in a row, and it may be more. They have dominated this series of late. Ground ball hit out to third. Brown fields it, throws across to Dylan Williams, and that finally will retire the side. But Woodland comes up with 6 runs on only 2 hits. There was an error in the inning. Cass will have Etheridge, Ayers, and Wilson coming up when we return, but Woodland has blown it wide open now. They lead it after 6.5 innings by a score of 9-3. Okay, we'll go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Woodland has blown this one wide open with 6 runs in the top of the 7th to take a 9-3 lead, but they've done it on only 3 hits. And the Colonels have committed a couple of errors. Several walks and hit batsmen have contributed to it as well. But the Colonels will send up their 2, 3, and 4 hitters, Etheridge, Ayers, and Wilson, to see what kind of damage they can do here in the bottom half of the 7th. Etheridge steps in to face John Hood, and the first pitch is a ball low. Cass Baseball being brought to you by Pepsi. The Colonels staring their first loss of the year dead in the eye as they've fallen behind Woodland 9-3 here in the 7th inning. The 2-0 pitch to Etheridge is a swing and a miss. And the count goes even now at 2-2. Next pitch is popped high, back behind third. Harris looking for it, can't make the play, and Etheridge will reach on the Woodland error. So Harris on that high pop couldn't find it. The left fielder came in hard, almost got there. And Etheridge makes it safely to second. That brings up Sam Ayers, the Colonel's senior shortstop. And he's first pitch swinging, but hits it foul out into the parking lot. So John Hood is in line for the pitching victory here after coming into the contest in a 3-3 tie. Hood from the set, and Ayers is out in front and just lined it deep into the left field corner over the 300-foot mark, but foul. That's the hardest hit ball we've seen tonight.
Hardest hit ball tonight, baby.
And the count goes to 0-2. So Hood from the set. Changeup bounced up there.
Hey, changing the dirt all the time. All the time, changing the dirt.
So with Etheridge at second, we get some more baseballs delivered out here to our home plate umpire.
Is that a baseball? Is it a baseball?
Woodland leading the Colonels 9-3. They scored 6 runs in the top half of the 7th to blow this one open. Cass batting with nobody out in the bottom of the 7th. Etheridge leads from second. Sam Ayers fouls off another pitch. Ayers looking for his first hit of the night. Chaz Wilson stands on deck. Hood, who has 3 strikeouts in the game, sets and fires and bounces it up there again.
Hey, he's not that good when you take that change away now. Come on.
And the count is now even at 2-2. So a 2-2 pitch to Sam Ayers is hit in the air to deep center field, but it's going to be caught out there. Etheridge will tag on the play.
Hey, good lick, Sandy.
So Mason Robinson fields the fly ball to center field. Etheridge does tag and move up on the play. And with 1 out, Chaz Wilson will come to the plate.
Stay off that change in the dirt.
So Cass catcher, he started the game at first base, but is now catching. Chaz Wilson steps in. He had a double earlier in the evening. Swings and misses there, but the ball gets away from the catcher, and Etheridge will score the Colonel's 4th run on the pass ball. Other way. Other way. Wilson steps back in to face Hood. And there's another swing and a miss, and the count goes to 0-2. So Wilson, who has a double and was intentionally walked, is now in an 0-2 hole here in the bottom of the 7th. And the changeup misses low. One out in the inning, and Chaz Wilson hits it down toward third. Harris can't come up with it, and Wilson will reach. So another error in the inning, and Wilson will reach.
Fastball ready, stay off that change.
On Woodland's 3rd error of the night. 2 in this inning. Dylan Williams steps up with Wilson taking his lead down at first. And Williams hits it back through the middle, fielded by Camden McGill. Nicely flips backhanded to retire Wilson on the force play. So a really nice backhanded fielding play by Camden McGill to retire Wilson on the fielder's choice. So Williams stands down at first with 2 outs, and Austin Gore steps to the plate as the Colonel's final chance. Williams chased back to first. And Hood sets and delivers. Fastball strike. Next pitch is low for a ball. So the Colonels are down to their final out. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. They trail it 9-4. Hood comes set and delivers a fastball that Gore hits foul down the third base side. And the Colonels are down to their last strike. So a 1-2 delivery from John Hood is a curveball at the knees, called strike 3, and that will do it in this one. Cass scores a run on no hits. There were 2 errors in the inning. And your final score is Woodland 9 and Cass 4. We'll take a quick timeout, and we'll be back to wrap things up here right after this. Okay, Charles Wilson back here to wrap things up. Our cameraman, Alec Barena, taking these final shots as Woodland scores 6 runs in the top of the 7th to put Cass away by a final score of 9-4. Cass did manage a run there in the final inning, but it was really a sloppy baseball game. Woodland with 9 runs on 3 hits. They committed 3 errors. The Colonels 4 runs on 3 hits. They committed a pair of errors. But Woodland moves to 3-1 on the year, and Cass falls to 3-1 on the year as Woodland wins this one 9-4. Again, we want to thank Pepsi, our sponsor, for bringing you these telecasts. We want to thank you for joining us, and we'll have our next telecast Saturday from Woodland at the Military Appreciation Day, as the Colonels will take on Pepperell at 2 p.m. and Woodland at 5:30 p.m. Again, thank you for joining us for Cass Baseball presented by Pepsi. Good evening, everyone.